Hello, Sanguines. This is about
Welcome back.
you today.
Welcome back. We are talking about how you, Sanguines, trigger other people.
I know, that might be triggering for you, but here's the hopeful side of things. Because you're very hopeful people. There is actually ways that you can better communicate what's going on, some of your intentions, to other people that don't necessarily share your sanguine temperament, to get aligned and stay in relationship and avoid triggering other people, right? So you can stay in relationship, you can work towards a common goal, and you can get there together.
Yep. So stick around and
We'll see you in there.
See you in there. Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to be talking about the Sanguines, the best temperament. No, I'm just kidding. That is my primary.
Ingold's here, your Catholic coaches for the day at the Catholic Coaching Podcast. And we're continuing on with our series that we've got on how the different temperaments trigger the other temperaments. All right. So most of us are operating in some sort of relationship unit, whether it's a team or family or we're in a parish, community, whatever. Okay. And we have ways that we can rub one another the wrong way. And a lot of this is kind of coming from maybe an untamed temperament, right? And so the more we can grow in a virtuous expression of our temperaments, we live in our strengths more, and we invite other people to live in their strengths more. So that's really what today's podcast is about, bringing us together so we can live in the virtue of our strengths, of our temperaments more, our motivations, our ideal environments, and we can avoid some of those triggers. But step one is identifying how we trigger other people with the best of intentions, not trying to do that,
and becoming self-aware of that.
Yes.
You know, and I think that Sanguine's a little different in this way because
we're talking Sanguines today.
Because they can be a little aloof and they're like, "Whoa, I didn't know people thought that about me." And so I think the self-awareness piece might be the best. But beyond that, we're going to talk about how you could possibly be triggering other people from other temperaments on your team and your family. But then we're going to talk about what are actually the things that are driving that action or those behaviors.
Yeah, like the good intentions, the well-meaning, like what are you what's the goal that you're driving towards and you're inviting people to drive towards as well. You got to come aware of that so you can invite other people by creating some of their ideal conditions and the way that you communicate with them to get on board with you.
Yeah. And then finally, communicating.
Creating this idea. Yeah.
Some communications, some things to say to people. If you find yourself guilty of triggering people on this.
So stand by, Sanguines. This might sting a little bit. Okay. Because you love pain.
You guys are going to have a great time.
Party, Sanguines, it's going to be a party. Okay.
I was just reading through these earlier and I was just like, yep. Yes.
Done that?
Yes to all of these.
Did that too. Yep.
Yes. And of course, guys, we're not saying that you need to take ownership of somebody else being triggered by you. But a lot of this can be kind of mitigated through communication, through even just saying, hey, hold on, this is something that I struggle with even ahead of time, even before actually working with somebody.
Yeah, the goal we're working towards with this, folks, is getting people on the same page, getting people of their own free will, deciding what's the direction that we're going together, what's the common good that we're going to pursue together, what's the goal that we want to achieve together or work towards together, and giving a space to voice that out, because each one of the temperaments brings a different gift on that journey, and we need all of them. By God's design, He's made it so that we need one another to arrive at heaven. Okay.
Let's start with it.
Let's talk about this. All right. So how might the sanguine trigger the choleric?
Matt, why don't you tell us?
I could just... How much time do you have? Well, okay, so lack of focus, all right? That flightiness that's there, where it's just like, okay,
inconsistency.
So the example that we have all the time is just like, I'm the integrator on the team, and so my job is really to kind of take vision that Aaron and I really collaborate on.
Does that mean I'm the visionary?
We're co-visionaries, okay? That's how this works. Hold your horses there.
I just triggered him.
Stand down, Sanguine. So, it's taking the vision and being able to kind of communicate it with the rest of the team so that it actually gets done and it becomes visible. Okay. So when I'm focused on execution, and the sanguine's focused on
Well, you can
whatever
just use me as an example.
Oh yeah, where you've like got a different idea. Oftentimes that is something where I'm just like, wait a second, hold on. Like we got to get we got to get something done here.
Yes.
And I have learned that can also be a triggering situation for you as a sanguine. We already talked about that in the last podcast. So, but that lack of focus can be something that can, throw off the choleric.
Yeah. And I think on the same vein, inconsistency, I think it's like the same thing. Like focus is certainly a strength of a choleric. If you want to bring focus to a team, you invite a choleric. Yeah.
And discipline, which is like we're gonna follow a process, right?
Yep.
The staff meeting is gonna follow a process.
But they're also consistent. They bring some consistency,
right.
some reliability. And so for somebody to see somebody being a disruptor of that consistency, it might be triggering to them.
Yeah.
Or it very well will be triggering to them.
Again, clerics driven to achieve, driven to get it done efficiently. All of a sudden, a new idea comes into the equation. It's like,
yes,
that kind of... It's not part of the plan.
And then finally, we have over social ability, which is kind of funny because like any sanguine would look at this and be like, "You mean social ability? Like not over, just like somebody who's just sociable." I'm not even saying that right. Sociable.
Well, it's like okay. There's the time in the meeting where you're talking your relationship and you're kind of building and everything, and then like it's like okay. Get it done hat gets put on. That's how I put my hat on.
It's a beanie. It's little.
It's like one of those, golden pond, fishing hats. Yeah.
I don't feel like I struggle with this much. I really don't. I feel like I'm usually waiting on you after mass.
What's your choleric secondary that's there?
Well, it's like tertiary, but it's like, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't really, but when I was younger, I did. Certainly. I always got written up for talking too much in class. And I was like, wait, isn't that why we're here? Like, what is this? What's this like board in front of me? Like, what are you guys trying to do? Teach me something?
Well, it's just because you're a situational sanguine.
Yes, I am.
There's my criticism now, probably
I'm
triggering
starting to
her.
be a poser sanguine. We've been talking about this. Like, I'm kind of like, I like being in my house.
The real true sanguines, like Mary. She's just like, yeah, I must rescue you on behalf of all sanguines. We're going out tonight. Okay.
But anyway, yes, over sociability can be triggering to a cleric because they think it kind of wastes time. Like, what are we doing? Like, what? We're just talking too much.
Yes.
Like we're unfocused. We are being inconsistent with the focus and you are being inefficient.
Okay. So sanguines, just be aware. This could be a way that you trigger choleric.
Yes.
Let's talk about how you can trigger one another. And honestly, it's just like, I felt like even as I was reading through your notes on this, I was like, you're really stretching here. Because like, I just don't see sanguines being reactive to other sanguines. I see them just being like, I want to stay here forever. Like, can we just hang out?
Sanguines really enjoy one another. I remember my mom always saying whenever it was me and my friend Rennie, we were in a room together, she's like, it always sounded like there were 50 people in there. Because you're all like, just like, I don't know, very, very loud, very,
Boom, boom, crash.
Yes.
Loud music, loud noises.
Yes. So anyway, I do think they do trigger one another. And I still am like, triggered by people who talk too much. I still am. Okay. And so I'm like, whoa, like chill. Like just give other people room to talk.
Breathe.
Yeah. But it's probably like give other people room like me to talk, So that's the first one, competing for attention or competing to speak, like time to speak.
Yeah.
I notice I have a lot of close friends who are sanguine and we love one another so much. Like we laugh, whatever. Like, and there's just,
it's fun. It really is fun. I do want to be like, I want to be out hanging out with you guys whenever you get together because it's just like, this is the laughter and the funny noises that you guys come. It's just funny.
Yes. But I do think it can kind of turn into that competing to speak, at least, or competing for attention. Or, that it's like a Saturday Night Live character who's like always the one-upper. What's her name? It's Kristen Wiig's character. And she's like, well, I am blah, blah, blah. So like that one-upping type of thing.
One of the things I do notice when you guys get together is like, there's like a forgetting to eat that happens.
Well, that's that lack of structure.
All right, what are we doing for dinner? I don't know. Like, it's just like, no, I just go to the cabinet. It's like, let's eat potato chips for dinner. It's just like a bunch of like 7-year-olds kind of like
seriously
trying to figure out how to. And then it's like,
there's
oh,
no
man.
planning. So I hosted my girls' weekend like at our house last time, and I was like, okay, first of all, this is totally created by Sanguine phlegmatic, and I'm just like, okay, I just want to make things easy for everybody. We're all going to drive on the golf cart to places. I'm not going to create any plans where nobody needs to drive or we're spending time in the car. But
I'm not cooking a thing.
I'm not cooking a thing. Like, we're just going to get stuff and you take care of yourself. So there is a little bit of lack of structure, but we like that. We kind of like that. Now, if you are on a team trying to get something done, or maybe your parents together, or maybe you're running a household, that can really start to, like, there will come a point where the one of the Sanguines will go, you know what, I think we need a little more structure.
Well, you guys lived, when Aaron and I were engaged, I remember you lived in a house full of Sanguines.
Yes.
And I would often have to come over and just clean it.
Yes.
Just clean it. Just empty the trash bins. Should I tell the story?
No. No.
Goodness gracious.
I do clean my house now too, by the way.
You do. Like, you get into like a fit and it's just like, and then
but
you get done.
But the
you're
most
like,
important thing was going out at that time of my life. It was like working, surviving, and then going out.
Which kind of gets into this third trigger of impulsiveness.
Yes.
It's just like
impulsivity.
Yeah. Or it's just like, okay, like you just never know. But again, like Sanguines tend to just be like, okay, let's move on. Like, I know one of our nieces, she's little, but she's very sanguine. She goes boom, 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 like it's the next thing, next stimulation, and everything like that, and just moving on to the next thing, and she's fine with it.
We're a little exhausted by it, and I'm a sanguine, and I'm like, okay.
So like there, but like even that impulsivity can kind of create some clashes. But I even wonder if this is really the sanguine being set off, or their like a person's secondary phlegmatic or melancholic that's being set off by something like this.
I think that is true.
Let's move on to the melancholics. How the sanguine can trigger the melancholic. Aaron.
Yeah. So superficiality, just kind of like, the melancholic loves, I mean, they're just deep. They're deep thinkers. They're kind of, they go deep. They go to deep places. And
we hate small talk.
Yes. And, superficiality, just like, what are we talking about? Like what? Like, I don't know. You can speak better to this.
Well, it's more so like, why are we? Well, it's that I hate small talk. I mean, there's a choleric side of that hates it, but like the melancholic, it's just like, no, I want to go deep. I want to get to the real stuff. Let's talk about the real things, and it just feels like I don't really feel seen in the conversation. That's very
superficial,
surface level. Yeah, right. It's easy sometimes, but like as a melancholic, sometimes I like being around. So it's my secondary. So I like being around other people that are sanguines. I don't really have to say anything, but I can just kind of delight in the enjoyment, right? Without it. So I like that piece of it. But the superficiality can be something where it's just like, okay, let's talk about the real deep things, and smoke a cigar and have some bourbon.
Here's the thing. It's not that a sanguine can't go deep. Like most sanguines that I know can go from a very lighthearted, funny conversation to, and they're well-formed, can go very deep. They just don't like living there. It's like, I'd much rather kind of be in this place of lightheartedness because I don't have like a lot of energy to put into that. Like I would much rather just be living into the joy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Disorganization is another piece that can flip.
So a melancholic's very ordered. Yes.
Structured. We put things in the right place. And so when I have sanguine family that comes and visits, and next thing you know, they're like in the best of intentions, they're doing the dishes, but it all gets put back in a different spot. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? Like, this is chaos. This place is just, it's falling, the skies, things are falling apart. So having that organization that the melancholic really delights in, the sanguine likes to color outside the lines. And so there can be a little bit of defiance to that ordered structure. Okay. Yeah. And then finally, the inconsistency piece showing up here as well. Again, inconsistency is often attributed to just a lack of structure, and not necessarily wanting that structure. And that's the beautiful part about the inconsistency and the disorganization is sanguine can be there's a lot of room there to be very creative and unique, and the ideas to flow, and to just be very present as well, and delighting in the people that are around you. So I can see how this kind of the shadow side is really, I don't know, like I don't even know if it's a shadow side. It's just
consist. Yeah, it does kind of play against though that desire for order for the melancholic. For sure.
Yep.
But I do find that melancholics and sanguines work well together if they're both well formed, and they can actually, but they are opposites. Like they are on opposite extremes.
Yep. Hey folks, Matt Engold here, interrupting your podcast with a special announcement. We've got Call to Coach Week around the corner, August 12th through the 16th. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to be a Catholic coach, or what a Catholic coach is, or what the skills of a Catholic coach are, or how it might be able to enhance your ministry, enhance your current coaching? Well, we're going to be answering all of those questions here at Call to Coach Week and digging into that together. Really digging into this question, is God calling you to be a Catholic coach right now at the season of your life? If you ponder this, if you're wondering this, you want to know a little bit more about what your life might look like as a Catholic coach, then join us at Call to Coach Week. Again, going August 12th through the 16th. All you got to do is click the link in the show notes, sign up. We will see you there.
Okay.
Phlegmatics. Finally, the phlegmatics here.
It's kind of funny though, like phlegmatics, like, I don't know. I feel like they're just not very triggered. Well, they're just not in general.
Well, if we're calling triggering like emotionally, like intense emotional response, you're not going to find that in the phlegmatic. But
there's an activation, we'll say. Like there's something is activated.
Where they shut down on one extreme, or they dig their heels in and get very stubborn on another extreme. Okay. Yep. So like the overwhelming energy of a sanguine can almost feel, I think, a little unstable.
Yes.
To the to the phlegmatic. So it's just a little bit intense. And it's like, okay, let's just kind of come down a little bit here.
I noticed Avila, her secondary is phlegmatic. And whenever she's around a sanguine child for the first time, she does get very overwhelmed by them. Actually, friends of ours came in yesterday. I didn't tell you this. Andy and Catherine, and their youngest, very sanguine. He kept
so sanguine.
He kept going, my friend. Like he kept calling Avila my friend. He was very little. I think he's like 2 or 3. And he went up to her and held her hand and started walking her over, probably like sanguine choleric, and started walking her. And Avila started crying. And she's so many years older than him, but she's just like, I'm just overwhelmed. Like, what is, and I think there was a little bit of the melancholic, like I'm not knowing what to expect with this child. And also like this overwhelming, like there's just so much energy. Like, why does he want to be friends with me? She's like, he keeps calling you his friend. She goes, he doesn't even know me.
That's so superficial of him.
Yes. I'm like, I get it. Like he just wants to be friends with everyone.
That's funny.
There is like an overwhelming energy, and
okay.
There.
Even like this, the kind of, hey, come out, be, so phlegmatics can be, it's more of an introverted temperament, right? So not quite as introverted as a melancholic, I would say. They still enjoy being around other people, but
they are like, people. Yes, like, phlegmatics are certainly people.
I enjoy being in the room, but don't force me to participate.
Yes.
Right? It's kind of like, so even a lot of my phlegmatic clients, they enjoy being around other sanguines, but it's just like, I don't have to say anything. Don't make me have to say something.
The sanguines do all the work for them, the social work, but it's that demand for social interaction. Like let's just say you are like a youth minister or whatever, and you're like trying to create like a little skit. Like you're going to go to all the sanguines first, and then
galvanize.
Maybe one phlegmatic might raise their hand, but their probably secondary is probably sanguine. So like they might be like, I'll do it.
I'll help.
Yeah. Or I'll help. I'll help with the lights, but I want to be around the people. So there's that demand for social interaction and be like, come on in, we jokingly say that every sanguine has a phlegmatic friend who just goes along for the ride, and the sanguines love it because like they get to do all the talking, and they get to
someone to laugh at their jokes.
Yes. Somebody laugh at their jokes, and just that consistent person, with them. And then the phlegmatics love it because they're just like, I like to be around people, but like, I don't need to be forced to be around people.
Yeah. Finally, even the impulsivity, we already talked about this before, but that impulsivity is a way of just, again, it destabilizes. Phlegmatics really like the stabilization, but that impulsivity can also be like insert unpredictability into the relationship. And so it's just like, it can be a little exhausting to be constantly reacting to the change that a sanguine can be initiating over and over. Okay. Yep. So what are some of the intentions, Aaron, as we move to part 2, what are some of the intentions that like, call them noble, right? Are at the source or can be at the source driving some of these actions that may be perceived as triggering by other temperaments? Yeah.
I mean, joy. Like joy is certainly a driver. Like, I remember like, and this is going to sound like very superficial to all of like the melancholics out there.
Probably because it is.
I remember having this thought as like a young adult, and I don't know what I was doing, but I was like contemplating. I wasn't contemplating suicide. I was thinking of people who contemplate suicide.
Very meta.
Yes. I was kind of like, why would somebody ever try to do that? It just sounds so unfun. That was my thought. And it was a legit thought. And I was just like, I don't get it. Like, why would you do something that doesn't bring you joy?
When you can, when there's so many options, so many ways, perspectives that you can take out there that bring that joy, right? So seeking out that joy, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yes.
Even the levity.
And positivity too. And like, this makes me think of the Clifton Strength positivity. And what I love about positivity is that it's not that you're a Pollyanna, like you can only think about the positive stuff, or you're just like, I don't know, superficially thinking about it. It's more like you can see the negative stuff, but you just choose not to look at, like you choose not to sit in it.
Yeah, there's an optimism that's there, which I think is really that sanguine superpower of number 4 here on our list, like that hopefulness.
Yes.
So sanguines have a great tendency to see the silver lining, which really is inviting people to look upon the future or look upon a situation with a hopeful perspective. Which
might come across as superficial, right? And even that joy and that positivity might come across as superficial to maybe a melancholic but like, so if it's, and also if it is used too much, if it's an overuse.
To the point where it dismisses kind of the reality of the situation that's there. It's just like, okay, well, we got to kind of focus on this a little bit first so we can. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Adventure is another one. And I think that can come across as inconsistent. Like what is today? Like what is the new adventure that the Lord has for me today, or the new adventure? I want today to
novelty.
be different. Yeah. I want today to have variety in it, and I want it to be exciting. So there's that piece, and that can come across as inconsistent and lack of focus and all those things. So like, especially if it's in overuse, if it's just, that's all you're seeking.
Well, I saw even yesterday, we didn't really plan on, even though Andy, God bless him, he had reached out to me and was like, hey, Monday afternoon. I was just like, sure. And then I did nothing after that. And so he texted me. He's like, it's Monday afternoon. You guys want to hang out? And I'm just like, our friends that had come into town. And I was just like, doggone it. And so, but as soon as I reached out to you, or Catherine reached out to you, you were just like, oh, impulsivity. Like, I want to see my friend Catherine, who's also sanguine. Yeah?
Yes.
It was just like, I want to see my sanguine friend Catherine. And you made it happen in a way that was, easy, worked out well. But again, but that drive for connection here as well. That's another one of those drivers. So we've talked about joy. We talked about connection, that hopefulness, that adventure, even just having that freedom, right? Flexibility, but freedom to be able okay, I have the flexibility to kind of pivot as new opportunities that I wasn't aware of pop up, right? And I can say yes, even like yesterday.
Yes, flexibility. Yeah, when you can't be flexible, when you kind of feel trapped in a rigid environment, like you just, it feels like you're constricted and lacking freedom. So like flexibility is a big piece for sure.
Yep. So those are some of the drivers that can be there. Again, joy, connection, adventure, hopefulness, that freedom and flexibility. So again, these are things that as a sanguine, you can be aware of these drivers, even call them goals that you're working towards. And then as you're trying to get buy-in or avoid triggering other people and lean into some communication that really considers what they want or how they might be receiving you, you can kind of craft this into like your communication, right? So it's like, hey, you know what? I'm really just trying to find a hopeful perspective in all of this. Like, melancholics, I know that you see the value in the details. I see the value in the details. I'm so grateful that you have this as well. And I know one of my gifts is bringing a hopeful perspective here as well, because that hope allows us to, like, after we understand the problem, which you guys are so good at doing, and we need that, the hope that I can bring to the situation is what's going to propel us to go forward and actually find the solution and move forward with the solution.
Yep.
Can we get on the same page? Like, I want to create some space for you to just kind of, to really identify, like, and really understand the problem here. And this is even something that we've recognized even on the staff meetings where, quite frankly, you leave the room sometimes, and that's okay. Like, I understand it's an exhausting environment for you to be in when we were just looking at all the problems. And I don't personally get exhausted or find it indulgent, because I'm just trying to find the solution at some point. And it's helpful when you can kind of come in at some point and still be like, all right, are we closer to a point where we're moving forward the solution?
Yes.
I can show up positive and hopeful.
Yes.
And
bring some solutions. Yeah.
Or even recognizing, and there's been times where you've done this where you're just like, hey guys, I think this might be kind of going indulgent. And it's just like, okay, she might be right. Okay. We might just need to move forward here.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of like how I'd approach a conversation with a melancholic.
Okay.
Right.
What about a cleric?
Well, I mean, so the cleric, again, could be triggered by just the superficiality of it, but the cleric wants to get things done. And even being able to approach it with, okay, I want to be able to really bring my energy into this project that we're working on here, and my gifts. And I know that you want to get the best out of me. So if you could give me an idea where you see I'm the best fit in this whole project here, I'm not necessarily going to be your finisher, but I'm going to bring the energy to get the thing done that we need to get done. Again, this comes with knowing your gifts. Even we pulled a little bit of the sanguine contribution language. I bring that energy to the team. And knowing the cleric wants to get things done, wants to get things done efficiently, wants to leverage all of the gifts and strengths of the team and bring them to bear. Well,
I think also, like, to allow... Like, so even if a sanguine was like, is there any group of people that you want me to galvanize? Is there any group of people that you want me to kind of get behind your vision? I think that would be really appealing to a choleric.
Yeah. It would help. Like, where can I get people excited about this?
Yeah.
Or, because again, cholerics tend to be abrupt. They want to get what needs to be done. They want to get it out so people can move forward with it. But
it's also like the most efficient way to do that is to get a group of people behind you.
Well, this is one of the fun things that I've learned from my neuroscience and leadership course that I'm taking. There's actually something called like BD, what is it? Like some acronym like BDNF, okay? And what BDNF is actually a something that helps create synaptic connections in your brain so you can learn more efficiently. And what they found is when you're learning something for which you are passionate, you actually your brain makes it simpler to learn that by creating more of this BDNF. So you actually create more synaptic connections, and that synaptic connections is how the learning is actually the new neural circuitry is created in your mind. So that passion that the sanguine brings behind it can actually, when they can evoke that passion in other people on a neurological level, it actually helps people to develop more efficient neural pathways to learning and getting something accomplished.
Right. So that's what, a sanguine could do. And that's more so like achieving a goal.
Yeah.
But like, how would a sanguine approach their cleric husband?
Oh boy. I know that you are in charge, and I know that
I trust you.
That's something that's so helpful. Where it's just like, hey,
I trust your leadership.
I know that you're trying. I know that you're trying to do something good here. Like, even that for me, like, that's my choleric melancholic, wanting to be seen and understood, and not like, for me, that's kind of even the melancholic side, to be misunderstood or to have somebody presume the worst or a poor intention or a selfish intention. it's like, oh, it just deflates me. So it's just like, hey, I want to help here.
Yeah.
You know, are you open to that help? Even like asking, like, are you open to that help right now? Or I've got some thoughts on how, and in offering, right? That choleric wants to be able to find their own way. And when somebody imposes on the choleric a way, it's like, no, thanks. I didn't ask for this. But if there's an offering and a partnership that's there, it's just like, okay,
like take it or leave it. Like,
I know we were working towards kind of, you know, a better way. I know you're not really happy with the way that worked. I know that we can find a better way. That's something that would be inviting for me.
Awesome.
That's more of a parenting example.
Yeah. All right. Sanguine to sanguine. Let's make this more fun. I think appealing to the other sanguine's dreams and being like, hey, what is it that like would make your life so much better? And how do we work towards that together? Like I'm thinking about how I like coach other sanguines. And so often a sanguine is just kind of like in the moment. They're not thinking ahead. They're not thinking about like what would make your life better, but also they're just in the moment and in relationships. So you could just be like, you know, let's kind of move towards something else. Like what would make your life so much better, and kind of create that excitement and energy to them.
Well, it's like I look at sanguines. They're so good at just creating the joy and the excitement. That joy and the excitement, when there isn't a clear objective, it's just delighting in the relationship. I think that's kind of the natural objective that sanguines have, is just delighting in the relationship. So
or in the moment.
Yeah. And being present in that moment. So, like I had a tough time looking at this one. It's just like, how often are sanguines really triggering one another?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just we kind of came up with those, but like when it was inconsistency or lack of focus or whatever the other ones were, competing
for attention.
But it's just more so like, how do we take all of this energy and excitement that you have and like actually do something with it, make an impact? Because I do think that they want to make an impact. They want to move other people. And so, I don't know, I think that's one way to start doing that.
And finally here with the phlegmatic. So, you know, how a sanguine might approach a phlegmatic, Aaron. What do you think?
I think it's like if you find that maybe you're overwhelming a phlegmatic, like I'll just use one example from one of the triggers, like demand for social interaction. Like, hey, I see that like you kind of hold back a little bit and that's okay. Like I'll take the lead. Like I really think that's like one of the triggers that I think you could just approach. Just acknowledge it and like I see that and it's awesome and yeah. Don't
take like I get so excited. My thought is that you'll enjoy this as much as I will.
Yes.
But like, and so I can see how that can become overwhelming or projecting kind of my own energy on you, or make you, incline you to think that you need, like I need you in order to be matching my energy. You really don't. Like just kind of, I enjoy your company. I delight in it. Just and just like that stability of the relationship where it's just like, hey, I may be impulsive and I may be reactive, but that doesn't mean that you need to match where I'm at. You've got permission to just be you and be stable. And that's totally fine.
I think a gift
and say no to me.
That a sanguine can bring to a phlegmatic are just compliments. Like, hey, do you know you're really good at this? Like, just I've noticed this, that you're really good at this.
Such natural encouragers.
Yes, exactly. So, like, I think even just to love a phlegmatic better or well, I think that's one of the ways that you do that.
Yeah. But even, again, like, hearkening back, phlegmatics, again, they love harmony, and harmony is held together. Harmony of people are held together by a common goal. So, again, know what's driving you as a sanguine in this moment. Are you being driven by that joy? Are you being driven by just the enthusiasm, the hopeful outlook of things, the wanting to maximize the freedom? What's driving you? And then being able to say, okay, I own that, right? Be transparent and share that with the phlegmatic or anybody, and be like, okay, I'm trying to find a really hopeful perspective here, or I'm trying to find a way that doesn't lock us in unnecessarily to something in the future, or I'm trying to be really present right now with or considerate of the people that are around. I'm trying to just be encouraging right now. It just seems like, and just sharing that up front, because I think everybody else looks at them like, okay, it's not trying to be superficial.
Yeah.
Or it's not trying to ignore the problem here. It's just
being transparent.
This is the gift that I'm trying to bring right now. And, and it's okay if you don't receive it right now. But how might you better receive this gift? Cool. Yeah. That's what we got here, folks. So if you're sanguine and you're a little bit more aware now, hopefully, of the way that you might inadvertently trigger other people with some of those sanguine tendencies, just own it, right? Yeah. Acknowledge some of those drivers that are behind it. Share voice those drivers. What are your intentions that you're really trying to accomplish with the way that you're showing up? But also be considerate about, the temperaments that you're talking to and what they desire and how they might be perceiving you, and just offering them that gentle reframe that can kind of ease some of the triggers, create some more ideal environments for them. And then, that creates a space for you guys to identify, okay, what does moving forward together look like?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. We've got 2 more that are coming up here for the phlegmatics and the melancholics. So stick around for those, because you guys trigger people too.
And once again, if you want to take this work deeper, come and join us in the academy. That is what we do there. We take all of these points of awareness, all your stuff about your unique design, your temperament, and we start to reveal to you the unique way that the Lord is bringing you to even go and discover that goal, discover that purpose, and use all of your strengths.
Yeah. Name and claim your gifts, name and claim your mission, move forward with confidence. That's what we're helping people do in the academy. So we will see you in there. Hey, thanks for sticking with us in the Catholic Coaching Podcast. If you like what you heard,
please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.